Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We are continuing to follow breaking news for you tonight out of Washington. That's where U.S. Senator Heidi Heitkamp announced today that she will oppose Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court. This all comes after Dr. Christine Blasey Ford made allegations against Kavanaugh, saying that he sexually assaulted her more than 3 decades ago when they were high school students living in Maryland. Tonight, our Washington team sat down with Senator Heitkamp and asked how she got to today's decision.
The easiest thing in the world for me would have been take a yes vote, get this over with. It will make all the political pundits in North Dakota happy. They'll say this is what the public wants, and that would presumably be make my path to re-election easier. I didn't come here to do the easy thing. I came here to do the right thing.
Heitkamp says during the latest hearing, she questioned Kavanaugh's temperament and impartiality, which ended up playing a role in her final decision. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are reacting to the FBI report investigating those sexual assault allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Senators Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer criticized the FBI report, saying the most notable part of it is that FBI officials did not interview Kavanaugh or Christine Blasey Ford. Schumer blamed the White House, saying the Trump administration limited the process and constrained the FBI from getting all the facts. Authorities have released the name of the man they believe helped bury a woman who disappeared more than 20 years ago in Kittson County and is believed to have been murdered. Christopher Nelson is the man officials say helped bury Becky Jo Look in a rock pile. Investigators say Nelson had a stepfather and that it's possible the burial could have been on the stepfather's farm in Marshall County. Authorities were tipped off that someone was driving in a remote area around the same time Becky disappeared. Witnesses believe they saw headlights on a vehicle that belonged to Nelson's stepdad. Authorities say they will continue to search rock piles on the property in hopes of finding Becky Jo Look's body. Stick with Valley News Live for more on this ongoing investigation. Here's a pretty sight. Snow falling south of Jamestown near the South Dakota border. Lots of areas are getting wet. Widespread rain changing to snow. If it hasn't reached you yet, it'll be there soon. Let's get the latest from Robert in First Weather. Robert.
Yeah, some people are going to be very happy. Some people are going to be very sad as we get some snow making its way on into the region. For myself, I'm kind of happy about that. Temperature-wise, it's been a cool one. Not much of a range of temperatures, low to mid-40s across the area. And after yesterday's very windy conditions, much lighter winds right now. Those winds generally around 5 to 15 miles per hour with some occasional stronger gusts. Quite a bit of cloud cover out there. Underneath those clouds, there is the mess making its way on into North Dakota and Minnesota. The rain, some of it heavy in far southeastern North Dakota, and the snow, where you see the white, that some locally heavy snow bursts that will continue to spread on off towards the northeast. The best chance for accumulations in the counties you see highlighted there. Winter weather advisory for the possibility of 2 to 4 inches of snow. Some slick roadways possible late tonight and early tomorrow. We will have more on your forecast coming up a little bit later in the show, including a look at that 7-day forecast.
Okay, eager to see that. Thank you. Authorities in Otter Tail County need your help finding a man who they say harassed a woman and her 5-year-old son at Inspiration Peak, Minnesota. Yesterday evening, the 25-year-old woman reported that after she refused to take a photo for a man, he grabbed her by the wrist. She managed to break away with her child. The man is described as about 5'10" with a medium build and about 30 to 40 years old. He was driving a dark blue Chevy Malibu with a model year from the early 2000s. If you have any information, you can call the Otter Tail County Dispatch Center at this phone number, 218-998-8555. A mother and her 2 children are dead after they crashed into a truck and were thrown from the vehicle. It happened yesterday afternoon north of Thief River Falls. Police believe that the mother and kids were buckled and secured in their car seats, but the impact of the crash may have broken the seat belts. The driver of the pickup was not hurt. The victims' names have not been released yet. The general manager of Gateway Hyundai in Fargo says he's seen an increase in car thefts and property damage within the past few months. The damage includes broken windows and stolen wheels and taillights. The GM says 8 vehicles were stolen from the property in the past 60 days. Now they're taking precautionary measures to stop the thefts and damage.
We've taken steps to fix the problem. We do have, like I said, we have security every single hour that we're not open. So there's always somebody here watching the lot.
Cole says they did recover some vehicles, but others are still missing. He tells us stolen vehicles, that's always an issue at dealerships, and it's disappointing that it's happening here in Fargo. A third gender option is now available for Minnesotans applying for driver's licenses. In addition to M and F, applicants can now check the box X if they do not want to identify as male or female. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with a local woman who identifies as non-binary about what safety concerns this change could bring.
Monday marked the first day Minnesotans could start marking an X on the gender spot on their license.
I think it opens up a lot of options for people who identify as non-binary. It is a little more humanizing. I'm glad that we finally have the option to identify as ourselves.
Kesterman says the change is a huge step forward for the trans community. However, she also says there's a lot of gray areas when it comes to non-binaries and the law.
Law enforcement has always been kind of a double-edged sword for the trans community.
Kesterman says she's unsure where a non-binary identifier would be placed if booked into jail, but police tell me they would probably be put by themselves. But police also say one of their biggest concerns is having a same-sex officer frisk an individual, which complicates things when it comes to non-binaries.
That is just an area where we hope that we can find a law enforcement officer who's professional enough to set aside any preconceived notions so that they can frisk an individual safely and respectfully.
But as for a new license, Kesterman says she's not quite sure what she's going to do.
I haven't decided yet. It took me a lot of time and paperwork to get it relicensed as the F for female. So I kind of like the F where it's at right now. But when I get it renewed, when it expires, I think I might go to the X.
In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Officials say there's no paperwork needed if you want to check the X box on your new license. The change makes Minnesota the 6th state to offer a non-binary gender option. Did you notice something a little different in downtown Fargo today? Take a look at this huge red ball. It's part of the Red Ball Project, and today it was seen outside the Plains Art Museum. The Red Ball Project is a public traveling art piece and is considered the world's longest running street artwork. The project consists of a 15-foot inflated red ball wedged in different city spaces. Production manager Mike Faba says this is a way for people to explore parts of their community they might not normally.
The goal is kind of whatever you want it to be. I mean, we have a lot of goals. We want to create a fun, inviting space for people to come hang out, maybe see parts of their city they wouldn't usually spend a lot of time in, have people have fun, take pictures, spread the word, and it really can be whatever you want it to be.
The project will be in town for the next 7 days. Its next stop will be at MSUM. I'm sure you'll see it once you get there because it'll be hard to miss. Yesterday, most of us received the national presidential alert, but a few of us did not. FEMA says the reason for that is because you might not have been in close range of a cell tower or your phone was turned off. FEMA is encouraging people who did not receive the message to let them know. Here's the email: FEMA-national-test@fema.dhs.gov. In that email, you can list your wireless provider, what device you use, whether others near you received the alert, and if you were using your device when the alert was sent out. FEMA expected the alert to reach 225 million people. President Trump has arrived in Rochester for his second trip to Minnesota. He'll speak at a campaign-style rally at the Mayo Civic Center in Rochester. The rally will start at 6:30 this evening, and city leaders have been told to expect thousands of people at that event. In addition to the war memorials, several veterans on the latest honor flight of North Dakota and Minnesota this week spent time at the individual memorial of a fellow veteran. Veterans from the Alexandria, Minnesota area paid special tribute to a friend who was killed when a plane hit the Pentagon on 9/11. Max Bilkey was working as a civilian employee at the Pentagon, dealing with veteran issues. He went to high school with many of the veterans who were on the honor flight and was a respected soldier, serving in both Korea and Vietnam.
He's a great guy, really, and he done a lot of work for veterans. He was, and basically that he made his life what do you say, it's a career working for veterans. So naturally, I'm a veteran. I appreciate that, you know. So he's a good guy. Yep. He's a great classmate, you know.
There is also a veterans clinic in Alexandria dedicated in Bilkey's name. If you